What's up, y'all? Welcome to the War and Peace Show. I'm Darren Lewis. I'm the host. Today we're going to be talking about the um, Newman, California police officer that was killed by an undocumented immigrant, right? Now, under normal circumstances, that last part wouldn't be necessarily relevant to criminals or criminals or criminals or criminal. But in this particular regard, it's necessary because that seems to be more of the emphasis that people are placing on this as opposed to the fact an officer was killed, right? So I want to get a few things out of the way. The first thing I want to do is cover why the fact this the killer his immigrant status is wildly irrelevant. And I will tell you, we'll go into that in a little bit. But where I want to start is I want to start in this particular Fox News article that talked about it. So Fox News reports that California illegal immigrant cop killer taken into custody, officials say. California illegal immigrant cop killer, right? So it's automatically that. So the illegal immigrant fugitive who was wanted in a number of California police officer uh, fugitive who was wanted in the murder of a California police officer was taken into custody on Friday after being on the run for more than 2 days, according to an official who made the case that the fatal encounter may have been preventable. Stanislaus County Sheriff Adam Christensen announced the arrest of suspect identified as Gustavo Perez Arriaga in Bakersfield, about 280 miles southeast of Newman, California, where the police corporal Ronnie Singh was gunned down early Wednesday. The arrest was confirmed by the Fresno County and Kern County Sheriff's offices. Christensen, whose department has been handling the case, told reporters at news conference that Arriaga is from Mexico and was in the U.S. illegally after previously crossing the Arizona border. It wasn't clear when the crossing occurred, though. Christensen said that the suspect had been in the country for a number of years and was seeking to cross back over the border before the shooting had occurred. So I want to get into this, right? So I read the particular Fox News version. I read the Fox News version for a reason. And the reason I read the Fox News version is because, again, the amount of emphasis, right, placed on sort of the killer more than the victim, right, is indicative of Fox News in general, right? This is that I have zero doubts in my head the moment that Fox News found out this was done by an undocumented immigrant. That's officially when the story became more or less important to them, right? There was really nothing else relevant about it until then. There is a significant number of police officers, I want to say about 14 of them, that have been killed this year alone that Fox News hasn't really touched on. This one was obviously important for a reason, but I kind of want to go into why it's not at all relevant what his document status was, right? To suggest that one of the most important features or one of the most important things about this murderer was that he was undocumented. Why that's not important is because being undocumented is not a prerequisite to murdering a police officer. Police officers kind of get murdered all the time. It happens quite frequently, and mostly it happens from American citizens. So to sort of suggest that this was preventable, right? How we had stricter border control is axiomatically incorrect, right? There's nothing correct about that statement, right? Cops get killed by perfectly legal residents and citizens and people who were born here, white people, brown people. Cops get killed all the time. Firstly, putting your life in danger is kind of part of the job, right? You can't really separate the two. It's very unfortunate what happened to this officer, but you cannot separate the two. Danger is part of a cop's job. Additionally, his death would have only been preventable provided that we had stricter gun control or stricter gun access and things of that sort. But simply suggesting that had the borders been more secure, this wouldn't have happened, again, is axiomatically incorrect. I'm going to go into just a few officers that have been killed this year, and I want to just sort of go through how many of them were killed by undocumented immigrants. So here's some statistics. So we'll do gunfire. So a total of 52 police officers have been murdered by gunfire in 2018, which is the highest number of all of the other line of duty related deaths. Second highest being automobile crash, third highest being heart attack, and fourth highest being 9/11 related illness, or nine, yeah, whichever. So this is for 2018, right? So the state with actually the very most police deaths is Texas. Weirdly enough, um, um, yeah, Texas and the U.S. government have lost an equal amount of officers, which is weird because not only does Texas have incredibly loose gun policies, but they also have restrictive access when it comes to undocumented immigrants, right? So obviously, California is a bit more welcoming to undocumented immigrants than Texas is. So to suggest that this wouldn't have happened had we had stricter immigration control, stricter borders, is axiomatically incorrect because in a state where the treatment of undocumented immigrants is taken more seriously, this happened more times than California, what looks like in the past 3 years. And I'm getting these from odnp.org, which looks like a Officer Down Memorial page. So it looks like a joint effort between certain law enforcement agencies around the country to memorialize fallen officers, right? So Texas has the highest amount of police deaths. There was one total accidental. Oh, these are canines. Okay, so there looks like there's a healthy amount of police officers who have been killed in 2018, and I'm only seeing two. I'm only seeing two by undocumented immigrants out of the standby. Oh, this is still going. So not counting canines. 1, 2, 3, 4. So not counting canine deaths, roughly almost 80 police officers have fallen in 2018, and only two of them have been by the hands of undocumented immigrants. So obviously, we have a necessarily larger problem here, right? The problem isn't just, to suggest that this would have been totally preventable had it not been for an undocumented immigrant is just insane. On that same note, police officers' deaths, particularly other immigrant police officers' death. In this case, this guy was an immigrant who came to the country following certain legal channels and things of that sort. Unfortunately, this had to happen to a really good officer, right? This guy, really good, did his service. But speaking from somewhat of a law enforcement professional, as a somewhat law enforcement professional myself, that is the kind of risk you take doing that kind of work, right? So, but I really don't necessarily appreciate the sort of focus on the actual killer and his immigration status, right? Because not only does it paint a bad picture for other people who are in the country who may not necessarily have documentation, but you're totally taking away from the dead law enforcement officer, which again, only Fox News seems to only care about when an undocumented immigrant does it, because out of all of the police deaths I've shown you earlier, none have gotten this kind of media. Actually, none have gotten really any media attention from Fox News. So that's really all I have to say about it. I'll probably go more in depth about it some other time. Please subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I'm really trying to build a platform. I got the studio space, which is a little echoey, but it works. So, and I'm looking forward to expanding this stuff. I like talking politics and religion and things of that sort. So, please tune back in some other time, and I will see you all in the next one.